This is the first video regarding land cover and land use. One of the things that we do with aerial photography and satellite imagery, remotely sensed imagery, is we can detect what is on the ground, right? We've been mostly identifying objects up until now, but you can also identify land use and land cover. And that helps with scientific studies, it helps with planning, it helps with a number of governmental agencies deciding what to do or how to manage a particular place. So what we're doing in these series of videos is first we're going to talk about land use and land cover, and then we're going to talk about change detection using land use, land cover techniques. Okay, and then I'm going to give you an example. All right, so land use and land cover are different. It's really important to understand the difference between land cover and land use. Sometimes the two end up getting combined, and that is in reality, in practical purposes, it often gets combined. Like if you end up working for a planning agency and you're doing a GIS and using remotely sensed images and you're making a map, and you would combine land cover and land use most likely in your key. But to best understand how to do that, we need to first separate the two and understand them both separately. Okay, so land cover, what I will call LC as a notation for the rest of these slides, land cover is the actual material that's covering the Earth's surface in that spot. So it's the biophysical material. Land use is how humans are using that land cover, that land surface. So let's show an example here. This image up here, you probably knew immediately what it was, but the land cover, the biophysical material, is an impervious surface, right? It's some sort of asphalt. Probably asphalt, but it's impervious. That's the important part there. Water does not soak through. And the land use, you can tell clearly by the lines painted on that surface, is that it's a parking lot. So if I asked you what the land cover was, it's going to be a different answer than the land use, right? I'm sure you're following me. Let's do this second one. Land cover and land use of this image. The land cover is grass or vegetation mostly, right? And usually when you're analyzing land cover, you're choosing the dominant land cover. Although you can get more specific and talk about, there's different land covers depending on where on this image, right? So there's grass, there's a forested tree area, there's dirt, there's impervious surface, right? So there's different land covers, but overall it's grass. Then the land use, you look around and you try to figure out what's going on. Well, it looks like there's some sort of recreational fields, right? There's some baseball fields, soccer fields and such, and there's a little parking lot, and probably they're recreational fields. Sometimes you have to do a little guesstimates, but that would be an acceptable answer, okay? So what we do with these land use and land cover data is we use a hierarchical, categories. Okay, so we systematically categorize land cover based on different general topics. And really, this system, this classification system I'm going to show you, is really a combination of land cover and land use. You will notice that. But remember that in practical terms, we combine them. But you have to understand the difference between land cover and land use to best move forward and understand what you're doing. Okay, so in this particular category, I'm sorry, I'm a little tongue-tied. In this classification system, the USGS have developed a classification system that most of us use. There, tongue-tied over. The USGS, the United States Geological Survey, which creates the topographic quads that we've been looking at here and there, and you were to use for your research projects for US examples. They developed this land cover, land use system, and these are the 9 level 1 categories. And so what happens is you start out with the most general, with level 1, and then within each level 1 category, like urban or built up, you'll break it down into level 2, getting more specific, and then each level 2 category gets broken up into a level 3. The USGS classification system actually only has level 1 and level 2. It is up to individual states or cities to develop their own level 3 categories because it gets a little too specific to different regions of the country. Climatic conditions and cultural conditions can really impact the level 3 categories. So to make one general for the entire country wouldn't be practical. So USGS developed level 1, level 2, and then the handout in Blackboard shows you a level 3 example that was developed by the state of Connecticut. Okay, so let's go through, first let me show you an example. Here's an image that has been labeled by level 2 land use land cover system. So the first number 2, this is 21 if you can't see. The first level 2, right, that is agricultural land 2. The second number represents the level 2 classification. So 21 is the land use land cover, and what it means is cropland and pasture. So the 1 represents cropland and pasture. A 22 would be orchards, things like that. So you'll see the handout. So the first number represents level 1, the second number level 2, and if you were using a level 3 classification system, you would have a third number representing level 3. And you see that the different areas on this image have been classified. This is 11. Urban is the number 1. Here's another urban with a number 7. And what I'm going to provide you, or what you're going to do on the lab, is you're going to, in some cases, you're going to identify the classification numbers for a particular image. And in other cases, I'll ask you, what is 13? What is this? Tell me what this is. And you'll have to use the key to tell me what it represents. Okay, so the general categories are number 1, urban or built up land. This is the level 1 category. It includes any component of urban or suburban development. If that's the dominant structure, it can be anything from a highly densely developed city to a more suburban development that has some green space interspersed. So these are just examples of category 1, level 1 land use, land cover. Okay, let's move on to 2, agricultural. 2 is the level 1 category, and then if we look at some level 2s, level 2 number 1, so if you have a 21, that's cropland. It can be anywhere from planting to harvest situation, so it can look quite different. Cropland looks different through the seasons. It also includes any associated buildings. 22 is a nursery for trees, sort of thing. 24, that's an other, so something like a cranberry bog could be considered other. Okay, let's move on to number 3. Level 1, classification 3, is grass or rangeland, and then the level 2 are things like 32 would be shrub and brush rangeland. 31 might be herbaceous grass and rangeland. And some of these I won't ask you to do because there's, you don't have the background or enough information to determine these. And this is where it gets hairy. Like if you wanted to add a level 3 classification onto this, you really have to know Kansas pretty well to understand how to get down to a level 3 category. Heck, you need to know Kansas well for a level 2 to know whether it's herbaceous grass rangeland or a shrub and brush rangeland, because to my eye, these look pretty similar, right? So you really have to understand land cover and land use in the particular places to successfully do this. Number 4, level 1-4 is forested. And then here are some examples of level 2 classifications. 41 is deciduous, 43 is mixed, deciduous and evergreens. And here are a couple of different evergreens, 42s. And within this, you might have some rangeland grading into forested areas, so it gets complicated on how exactly to classify. That's why it's really important for states to handle their own classification systems. 5 is water. You can have 51 as streams, 52 is lakes, 54 are bays and estuaries. Number 6 are wetlands. You can have a non-forested wetland. You can have a forested wetland. 7 is barren land. This includes anything like beaches are considered barren land. Bare or exposed rock like a lava field in Hawaii. Dry salt flats. These are all barren lands. 8 is tundra. There's different types of tundra, as you can see there. And 9 is perennial snow or ice. Like glaciers would be 92. 91 is a perennial snowfield, maybe in a mountaintop in a cold location or high elevation. So those are the level 1 and some examples of level 2 breakdowns. And as you're determining land use and land cover, it's important to remember your photo recognition elements, right? Shape, size, shadows, etc., because that will help you determine land use and land cover. Remember this image? So land cover, is vegetation because it's a false color image and this is all reds, right? So it's vegetation, but the circles, the shape and the pattern of these circles tell you that it's a cultural feature and that they're irrigation circles, right? So that really helps you identify land cover and land use. So recognition elements play a role in this process. Okay, I'm going to stop here and continue with some practice and examples in the next video.